is weird with the app and trying to get this darn thing to work. But either way, I'm here. Thank you for bearing with me. Usually it pops up at like a little notification and it says you can go live, and I'll click on it. I'm able to open it up, but for whatever reason, it just didn't let me. So, but I'm here now. Hello, everyone. If you're watching this in post, hi, how's it going? This is Travis with the Chaotic Crafter Zero. I'm holding Abaddon right now, the despoiler. So the big bad, one of the big bads in the 40K universe, if you will. So if you are someone who subscribes to Warhammer 40K, then you probably already know what this is, right? So I paint miniatures, for those that don't know. I assemble them, I paint them, and then I build my little armies. And right now I have two armies. I have Krieg, and then I have Black Legion. So today I'm wearing a Deathcore Krieg shirt, just to honor them. So I'm not painting them today, unfortunately, mainly because I'm getting ready to... there's a tournament coming up that's locally here in our area in Rochester, Minnesota. It's something called Castle Con. So this is the second year that they are doing this, and it's still kind of in its infancy, but it's like everything tabletop. So any type of games you could think of, that's what this is, and they're still trying to figure everything out, so the budget isn't quite there yet. But the idea is that you go into a hotel, and apparently they have an area where it's literally like castles all the way around. It looks kind of cool. I looked at some of the photos, and it's kind of like Warhammer World, if you've ever been there. In the UK, they have a huge, massive areas to play Warhammer. They host tournaments there too, of course. But that is something that they have here in our little city, which is kind of fun. And then another big news is Warhammer World United States of America is going to be breaking ground soon in Texas. I believe it's in Houston, Texas. So it's going to be brand new. I don't know what's going to be in there, but how freaking cool is that? Whenever they have that thing built, I will definitely be making the journey there to check it out and see what they got in store. So a lot of exciting things coming from GW. Also, if you didn't watch yesterday, they did a media release for some of their new models and armies that they're showcasing. So they did one in December, as we all know, and they still have to deliver on a couple. Like, I think it's the Hive Tyrant with the whip. No one's seen that yet, but they said that that's a model that's going to come out. I don't know how that works, but Huron Blackheart came out, and if you don't know, he's a Red Corsair, which Corsair means pirate, if you didn't know what that means. So it's a French word, but it means Corsair, it means pirate. So Huron Blackheart, and along with his entire armada, his flotillas of his Red Corsairs are terrorizing that part of the galaxy that he resides in. And I actually read in the Night Lord's Omnibus, Huron Blackheart was actually in it, which is kind of cool because apparently he's not mentioned a whole lot in other books. So, oh, you're good, Triangles. Thank you, man.
Hi, everybody.
Maddie's here. She's not feeling the best, but she's studying, so she's here. But either way,
Dogs.
yeah, she says hello, home dogs. So it's Saturday, January. What's today, Maddie?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
17th,
Maybe it is the 17th. Yeah, I think it's the 17th. So, yeah, not doing too much. It's cold out. You can't see outside. I could, if you want to see outside, I can raise up the... Why not, right? See what's going on outside. Snow, snow, and more snow. So you can kind of see the city out there. We live pretty close to it. We're across the bridge, one parts of the city. So it's always cool to just kind of look out and see what's going on. So there's a lot of bad stuff going up in Minnesota. We don't live in Minnesota, thank God. But yeah, another reason I didn't choose to go live for many reasons is that whole thing in Minnesota is just eating up all the live traffic. So a lot of people right now are keeping their eye glued to the screen about what's going on in Minneapolis right now. And it's really heartbreaking to see. So, not a big fan of that. But over here in Rochester, it's pretty chill right now. It's pretty quiet. There was some protests. There's always something going on here, right? But like usually there's one location where they stand and they have signs and everything. It's by a high V, like kind of on the west side of the city. There's a high V, and they're all out there holding signs and the whole No Kings thing. So I saw those people when they also protested downtown. I was driving, and I saw a lot of No Kings action going on there. A lot of people showed up for that, by the way, here in Rochester, like way more than I thought. I don't know how many people showed up for that, but a lot more than I thought. And yeah, it's just interesting to see what's going on in the world. But it's just a little corner, you know, a little corner of the world that we're in over here in the United States. But, you know, yeah, might as well archive it for multiple reasons. So we got a couple people in the chat. Hello, hello. It's Travis here with the Chaotic Crafter Zero, and today I'm painting and continuing to build up our big bad of the 40K universe, Abaddon the Despoiler. So I have him on a stick, which is kind of funny. So he's just kind of like, just kind of dancing and having fun. But I am slowly getting him built up. As you can see, I do have a lot of the gold trim going on. And everything that I'm using right now is acrylics. So I'm using water-based acrylics. That's what I use to paint with. I even have some ink. So this is acrylic ink. If you do not have this in your paint arsenal, I would strongly recommend this one in particular. And this is in the titanium white. Okay, and this is made by Amsterdam. So that's who makes it. I got it in at Hobby Lobby for $6. So it's a dropper bottle, and you only need a little bit, but it does a really good job at priming and basing in white. And it's something that I've seen a lot of the pros use when they're looking for that glowing effect. They'll use this because it's so runny, but when it dries, its opacity is so thick, it looks really good compared to any other white that I have in my arsenal. I have multiple different whites from a couple different companies, and this is the only one so far that I've really liked for that glowing effect. I don't have any white units to paint, so it's not something that I use a whole lot. Josie and Normil and 3K, hey, what's up? Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. Who else we got in the chat? Let me know. Oh, Magnus, hey, you're all good, man. All good. I was a little late starting this, so I was just having technical issues. Whatever. But either way, we're up. We're live. So I'm glad you're here. How are you? Painting Abaddon and building him today. So many of you probably saw my short that I posted about cracking open Abaddon, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm doing okay, Magnus. I'm surviving, man. I'm not doing horrible. So yeah. A little boring around here. There's not too much to do. We went to a hockey game last night, which was kind of interesting. So we got to see a local hockey team. Not like the Wild, you know, we have Minnesota Wild, and that's like their, you know, NHL, National Hockey League level, but this was like a smaller level. Kind of like back in Chicago, we had the Chicago Wolves. So, Magnus said, won't stay up for too long because I got to get up early tomorrow. Okay, yeah, you probably got work? Probably got work. If you didn't know, Magnus works on the slopes. So he's a ski instructor. I don't know where you work. You don't have to disclose that at all, but I know you're up in Canada, so okay. Nah, it's fine. I'm drinking A&W tonight, so love it. Man, I love A&W. So I have decided to sub-assembly build Abaddon just because he's so intricate and there's so many different angles and like little things you gotta get. Trying to put him all on one and then just spray him and then, you know, base him and paint it. I don't feel like I'd really do it justice, considering Abaddon's probably the strongest single unit that I'll have in my army. He's also a warlord. So if you don't know, if you're new to the hobby, when you're choosing an army, you have to make sure you have someone to lead your army, okay? You cannot field an army without a leader. So that's just 40K core rules. If you didn't know it, now you know it. Magnus said, I work at Glen Eden, and it's up in a town called Milton, just a town of... Oh, that's cool, man. I appreciate that, brother. Yep. So, just curious. I told Magnus I want to freaking get some instruction from him if we're going to learn how to ski, me and Maddie. Like, I've skied before, but nothing serious, so... Triangle says, I call our leaders a greater general where I come from. Ah, yes, a greater general. There you go. Yep. So, yeah, in your hobby, a greater general, right? Like a commander, right? But in 40K, technically me being the person who's fielding the army, I'm considered the commander. You know what I mean? Like, I'm above Abaddon. I'm telling Abaddon what to do. Maybe I'm a brigadier general. Yep. There's an acronym to help you learn all the different types of generals if you didn't know this. So the acronym that I was taught back in the military is Be My Little General. B is brigadier. M is major general, right? L is lieutenant general. And then G is just general. So if it's like general, that's the highest level. That's like a 4-star, right? That is a 4-star. 1 star is a brigadier general, okay? Major general, that's a 2-star. So if you ever see 2 stars on a uniform, that's a major general. This is across pretty much the Army. And then the Navy's kind of different because they have admirals, right? So they have like fleet admiral, rear admiral, all these. I don't fully understand it. Like their captain is not the same as our captain. Like in the Marine Corps, our captain is considered like a company commander, right? So like in 40K lore, when you have a captain of a chapter, that's like having a captain of a company, which is about 300 guys, usually, okay? But in 40K, the scale should be a lot higher. I think a captain in 40K is probably in charge of like 1,000 Marines. So, because I'm pretty sure an entire chapter is 3,000 brothers. So, and then there's the highest level, which is the chapter master, right? So Magnus said, the Canadian generals are the same, but the logos are different. There you go. Yep. So you guys might have different, insignia, but it's essentially the same thing. It's like Be My Little General. So if you didn't know that, now you know. It's a good way to learn. So that's what we learned. It's funny when they taught us, they said, never, ever, ever say this in front of officers, especially if they have a star on their shoulder. Never say Be My Little General. So it's a joke, but it's kind of funny, right? And then Magnus said I sent a pic of Glen Eden in the Discord. Awesome. Okay, I don't have Discord open right now, but I might crack that open in a little bit. Triangle said, I hope not the Canadians are well. I hope not the Canadians are. Well, they're Canadian, first of all, and then second of all, we don't have to get in that zone. And then Dan Purr said, you look like Mark Henry. I don't know who Mark Henry is. Do you know who Mark Henry is, Maddie? Well, hopefully that's a good thing. I don't know. We got 6 people in here. What's up? If you wouldn't mind giving me a hello and subscribing, please, please. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers. So here we talk about Warhammer and my hobby, which is painting and building armies, and then you play them in a strategy-based game called Warhammer 40,000. And there's multiple different flavors of it. So if you're not familiar with it, you could look it up. But I could tell you about it too. So welcome everybody who's in here. I don't You know, I'm not asking for money, nothing like that. All I ask for is a thumbs up and a subscription, please. I'm trying to get to 500. That's it. So I do have a Discord as well. If you're into Warhammer, you are very welcome to join that. Just please let me know. Let us know. Magnus is my commissar, so he's kind of the enforcer of the group. But we just make sure you're not posting stupid stuff in there. So I don't have like too many rules in there, but I guess maybe I'll make a couple rules for it. I haven't really decided yet. Triangle says, and you don't follow the Geneva Convention. Yeah. Canadian military ranks are pretty much the same as the U.S., but we don't have a million sergeant ranks. Gotcha. Yeah, we have a lot of sergeant ranks, yeah. Bless you, Maddie. So, I know like the British, which 40K is based in the UK, it was created in the UK, so like a brother sergeant is like considered high, right? And I'm pretty sure they have a first sergeant as well in the British military, but it just goes sergeant, and then after that you're like pretty much stuck, you know. But like here in the US we have multiple different sergeants. Like myself, I was a staff sergeant, right? So there's also a staff sergeant in the Army. There's also a sergeant first class, and then we have something called a gunnery sergeant, right? And then it just goes up and up and up from there. Master sergeant, master gunnery sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major. So if you're a sergeant major, that's really high up, which I know a couple sergeant majors. So it's pretty cool. I could text them if I want to, but I don't. I got a couple of friends. I got one friend who's a master sergeant too. So Triangle says, I love the zone of drama. What do you mean, my friend? What do you mean, Triangles? What's the zone of drama? And then Magnus says, we only have one sergeant rank, and that's sergeant. Ah, okay. And after that, it's warrant officers. They aren't like the U.S. warrant officers, but still NCOs. Interesting. That is very different, yeah. I've never worked with the Canadian Army, but I've seen them. I have seen them. When I was in Hawaii, we have something called RIMPAC. Don't know what the acronym stands for. I just know PAC means Pacific. So, but it's like a bunch of armies and militaries, and everybody comes to Hawaii and they do this huge naval spectacle. If y'all have ever watched, what's the movie? Battleship, I think it's called. Yeah, it was like with Rihanna in it or whatever, like Battleship. That's kind of based off of RIMPAC, and I actually knew a sergeant who actually was in the movie, which is kind of cool. So they actually came to the base and they were recruiting people who were actually in the Navy or actually in the Marine Corps, and they chose a couple people to go to be in the movie, which is kind of cool. So if you didn't know that, now you know. It's not a very good movie. I've watched it, but it is an interesting movie of the times to showcase our military, how we kind of coordinate things. And like the Canadians come down, the Mexicans come up, the Russians used to be there. And I remember when the Russians were there, and then obviously they got kicked out. But I remember seeing the Russian sailors, and they walked around like Popeye in like the old school striped shirts. You know what I'm talking about? And they had like the big flat cap with like the ribbon on it, like super old school from the 1800s. But they showed up. Japanese are there. And then the Chinese were there, but the Chinese got kicked out too. And I remember why. And it never got into the media. No one talked about it, but I know what happened because I was there physically. All right, let's go back to chat. And then Magnus said, we also have something called a Master Corporal. That's so funny. Dude, I wish we had a Master Corporal here in the U.S. That'd be so funny. Because we have a joke about Lance Corporals. So a Lance Corporal is below a Corporal, right? Well, we have a joke in the Marine Corps is like, if you've been a Lance Corporal, you never picked up Corporal. But you've been a Lance for a long time. We call you a Senior Lance Corporal. But it's a joke. It doesn't actually exist. Or if you were a sergeant or a corporal and you got busted down in rank to Lance Corporal, you're like a super senior Lance Corporal. So, or like a senior PFC, private first class, right? It's a joke in the military, but I did not know that about a Master Corporal, though. That's interesting. Oh, and then Triangle said, the zone of drama, this is your low. Oh, okay. All right. The zone of drama. I like that. Welcome to my area of operations and fuckery. Oh, man. Magnus said, yeah, sometimes the lives can get a little crazy. Yes, they can. And then Triangle said, you, sir, said it. High five to you. Awesome. I love it, man. Fun, fun, fun. Yeah, dude, I've been watching lives, like other people's lives, because I want to see what's out there, right? Sometimes I find a good channel, but man, there's some weird shit out there. Especially here in the US. I don't know if y'all see it, but I'm like, there is some weird fucking lives, like people sleeping in their cars. There's a lot of AI ones. There's like, I saw one where there's a girl and she's sleeping in a chair up above, and then down below there's like a game playing or something, and it says like 27 seconds to wake up, and they have to like give her money, and then she wakes up and then she goes back to sleep. I don't understand it. It's really weird. There's a lot of other weird lives, but this is just my live. I try to keep it chill here. We do have fun. Oh, Forever Lurk 2 said some of those dark tourism channels are insane, and hello. Hey, what's up, Forever Lurk 2? Hell yeah. Yeah, I hate those greedy cash grab lives too. Exactly, Magnus. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of those. Like there's another one of a guy, he's like boxing a pole. That's all he does every day. Every day he goes out, there's a pole in the street, it has a big old pad on it, and he just goes out there and just boxes it. That's all he does. And then there's every once in a while he'll actually like fight someone else on the streets, and I'm like, this is fucking crazy. They're just like boxing each other. It's kind of like bum fights. I don't know if you guys ever saw that back in the day, but like there used to be this this like underground channel you could go to, and it was called Bum Fights, and people would pay homeless people to fight each other for camera stuff. It got taken down like decades ago, but I remember watching this, and it was called Bum Fights. Friggin' Forever Lurk 2 probably knows what the hell it is, but it was pretty crazy, dude. It was like the Wild West of the internet back then. So, Triangles is in Canada. He's in Quebec. I remember that. And then Magnus said, yeah, the Canadian Army squads have a sergeant as a CO. What? As a commanding officer? That's so weird. I mean, I've been a platoon sergeant, and I've also been a platoon leader, which is like lieutenant rank. I've done that. A master corporal as the XO, and then 2 to 4 corporals, and the rest are privates. That's so interesting. That would suck. It's like you're just a private forever until you finally make corporal, and they're like, all right, you're a corporal now, and then you're like, oh, I'll get sergeant in like 10 more years. That's interesting. But they probably look at us like, oh, you're a sergeant, you're 24 years old. Like, what the hell? Some young sergeants out there. I think the youngest one I ever met was 20 years old. He wasn't even old enough to drink yet, but he was a sergeant. I was like, what the hell? Yeah. I didn't know the guy personally, but it was at the Marine Corps ball in Chicago. I was at one, and they said the youngest Marine in attendance is Sergeant, whatever his name was, and you could hear the crowd. They all go, Sergeant? like all of us say Sergeant. What the hell? Because they have the youngest and the oldest Marine in the building, and they come up and they get to eat the cake. So we have like a Marine Corps cake. It's something we do for our birthday. And they call it the youngest Marine and the oldest Marine still living, or still serving sometimes. So, but yeah, they had a sergeant come up, and I was like, what the hell? What's the first time I've ever seen that? We all laughed about it. So, and then Triangle says, my language barrier doesn't say you are, it says AR. Oh, interesting. And then Magnus said, where are you from, Triangles? Triangle said, classified by Project Mayhem. Sorry, can't say. Interesting. Forever Look 2 says, I remember that shit. Yeah, dude. You remember bum fights. Yeah, I remember those. Then it got kind of serious. Dudes getting heads cracked on concrete. Yeah. And, like, they're homeless people. They don't have, like, health care and, like, you know, they'd be like, hey, I'm going to give you $100 to fight this guy. And they would just beat the shit out of each other and, like, lose their teeth and punch each other and bleed. And it's like, oh my. It was fun back then. But looking back on it, it's like, ooh. A little unethical, but it was interesting. I mean, they were willing to do it. You know, you go to a group of homeless people, you find the craziest ones, and you go, hey, I'll give you $200 if you fight this guy right here for like 15 minutes on camera, or 10 minutes, however long it is. It was kind of like I hate to say it, equivalent it to like Girls Gone Wild, but it was kind of like that, where they would travel to different cities or wherever, like Pittsburgh, for example, and they'd be like, all right, who wants to fight? I'll give you $500, whoever wins, you know, and they'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll do it, because they got nothing else going on. And then Magnus said, going to Quebec this summer. And then Triangle says, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm telling the truth. See, you're not from Quebec. I thought you were. Forever Look 2 said, it's kind of a conscripted group whose ranks are E1 to E2. I did not know that. That would make sense. So Magnus, what he's saying is, if you are conscripted, that means you're basically forced to join, or there's some sort of a, you have to do military service. You're just a private, maybe you're a private first class. But if you re-up and join and enlist, like re-enlist, then it bumps you up into rank. I did not know. I mean, maybe that's what it is. And then the sergeant is the one who rejoined on contract, like maybe. You know, I'm not, like, if they want to make it their career, right? So that's what I would imagine. It's like time in grade, time in service, and then there's probably other things they look for too. You know, they're not going to be like, well, you've been here the longest, so I guess you're a sergeant now. Like, I would imagine they would have to, like, have some education, or, like, go to schoolhouses, or do some, like, recruiting or something, I would imagine. But that is interesting, yeah. That would suck. That would suck to be in that military. I'd be lucky if I got sergeant, you know, like, that's a big deal, so, in that military. Triangle says, where I come from, we have a corporal, then we have a general, then we have a captain, sergeant, and then a brigadier general. Huh. I've never heard of that. Unless if that's made up. And then Magnus said, yeah, the warrant officer in the Canadian Army would act as a platoon sergeant, company sergeant, etc. I'm pretty sure. Okay. Yep. We got warrant officers too, but they're like actually officers, like you salute them and everything. So I don't know if that's how it is in Canada. But I know in Warhammer, back to Warhammer 40K, like they have the same class system in their military in the sci-fi world. So they have like a lieutenant, right? They don't call him a lieutenant. We know it's a lieutenant, but they're like Lieutenant Titus, and now it's Captain Titus. So, but yeah, kind of cool. All right. And then Triangle said we have an FFP, aka the Freedom Fighter Platoon. Interesting. Okay. Magnus said in Canada there's only NCOs and COs. So non-commissioned officer, commissioned officer, and then warrant officers fall under NCO. Interesting. Yeah, so that's like an enlisted, yeah. But like here they're considered commissioned officers. Even though they were prior enlisted, they go through officer school. It's warrant school. They go to warrant officer school. And then when they graduate, they get the shiny. And when you get the shiny, that means you get saluted. So we have warrant officer 1 all the way up to 5, at least in the Marine Corps. So, and they're more specialists. So a warrant officer is someone who chooses to specialize in their MOS. So if you're like nuclear, biological, chemical, NBC, you would specialize in that as a warrant officer, and that's all you know. Or if you're in tanks, right? You're a tank, you come from tank background, you go in, you become a warrant officer of tanks, that's all you know. But you might be on the mechanic side too. So, but we have warrant officers for a lot of things. But there's also warrant officers that can't do other things, you know? They could still be infantry. They're still warrant officer infantry. And then when they go really high up, you get a really cool designation, and you get called a gunner. So not many people know this, but it's a really rare rank in the Marine Corps, and it's called a gunner. And it's a Chief Warrant Officer 5 equivalent. And they wear a little bomb. It's like a little bomb that they wear on their collar, and they go by gunner, which is pretty cool. So, and they usually have like a sniper background. They have to have infantry training. They're machine gun experts. Like they know everything about every single weapon that the infantry will use. That is their bread and butter. And they can do everything from sniper calculations to shooting long distances to your pistol. Those guys are experts, and I've met a couple. And also, they're the ones that are usually in charge of a range. So an entire firing range, like an entire range, can be fielded or commanded by a gunner. And that's a warrant officer, but a Chief Warrant Officer 5. So it's something that's really, really rare in the Marine Corps. But I've met 3 of them, because I worked on the range, because I taught people how to shoot guns. So I got to meet them, and then one I actually got a class with. So he was the head instructor of the Quantico School of Marksmanship Training, which also includes sniper for. So Marine Corps snipers would go to the same schoolhouse, like the same building we were in. So we would be outside, and the snipers would be out there like doing their shit. It's pretty crazy. So we were not snipers, but we did get a class by the gunner on how they calculate shots as a sniper, and it was so math heavy, and like there were apps you gotta use, and like you gotta calculate the grain of the bullet and like the trajectory. You also have to, I'm not kidding, you have to also factor in gravity and the rotation of the earth, you know, and like your elevation, like all this stuff you got to do. And I was like, I had no idea snipers were such nerds. I just thought they go out there and fucking kill shit from really far away, you know, but no, they're the smart ones. They're really intelligent. Even I'm a relatively intelligent guy, but like I was so lost in that class. I was like, sir, I don't know how to do any of this. And he's like, oh, it's all right, I'll teach you. And he like sat me down and he tried teaching me, and I'm like, this is going way over my head, bro. But it was a really cool class. So he taught us about how to do it for different caliber weapons, and like the barrel length, and like how many twists does it take until it exits the barrel, and like called the exit velocity. And then there's the terminal, you know, all this shit you got to know. It's way more than you think. So if you ever want to join to be a sniper, you do have to be smart. So, and then back to chat. Forever Lurk 2 said, our warrant officers typically are a technical officer. Yep. Yep. That's how we do it. Yep. It's like a technical job. And you could be a helicopter pilot too. Absolutely. Yep. Or a surgeon. Yeah. They could be a surgeon. It's probably in the Army though. In the Marine Corps, we don't have that. But, like you could be EOD as a warrant officer. So you work with bombs and like disposal of bombs as a warrant officer. So that's another specialization you can go into. Them some crazy dudes, by the way. Really cool job. I could probably do it, but I don't know. You got to learn a lot. It's not easy. It's not easy to be an EOD. So massive respect to those guys. I've worked with EOD too as an engineer. So I'm an engineer by trade. I had to learn and understand how explosives were built, what type of, how to identify them, how to prime into them, how to destroy them, you know, how they work, all the initiation systems. You got to learn. I'm not going to say that word too many times, but, you know, just something that, if you don't know, that's my expertise. So, and then construction as well. I also learned construction too. And I believe that's a 12 Bravo is what is the Army equivalent of an engineer in the Army. I think it's a 12 Bravo. So, yeah, but I could tell you guys all about C4. Obviously not on YouTube. So, and then Magnus said, yeah, warrant officers don't act as the technical officer status. They're pretty much like U.S. Army or Marine Corps upper sergeant ranks. So the regular warrant officers, the Canadian Army, would be a platoon sergeant. Interesting. That's so, yeah, that would throw so many of our guys off. Like, I again, I never trained with the Canadians, but I saw the Canadians walking around and I was like, I don't know any of their ranks. I don't know. They would give us a class on how to like identify different ranks for different countries. And I was like, holy fucking shit, I'm not going to remember any of this. You go to the Middle East, they got crossed swords and shit. It's pretty badass looking, but they have like diamonds. They got, you know, you start seeing flowers and then there's like stripes and all these different symbols. It gets kind of hectic to learn it all. So, I mean, the U.S. isn't easy to learn too because all of our branches, besides the Army and the Marine Corps, they're pretty close. Everybody else is completely different. The Navy is like really complicated. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with them. It's fucking complicated. And then you go to the Air Force and they got some crazy ranks. It's kind of similar to us, but not the same. It's not the same. Like they actually have a technical sergeant. They also have a master sergeant, right? So, and a master sergeant's pretty high up. A technical sergeant is like a gunnery sergeant for us. So an E7. But they have like airmen, and then they have like senior airmen, and there's all these fucking, I don't even know them all. And then Triangle said the only reason why the general is second in the list is because there's actually a loop. If you put it in like a tech tree, like a tree, the general is on the side of everybody else. Interesting. And there's different generals if you didn't know. So everybody's like, oh, it's a general. Like you expect him to be, there's different generals, guys. It gets even more complicated the higher up you get. It gets so complicated. Everyone thinks like, oh, a general is a commander of a huge thing. Like there's generals that work in the Pentagon that don't even like see their men hardly ever, or they're in charge of equipment only. You know, they could be in charge of satellites up in the fucking space, dude. Like it's you talk about like cyber, like all the cyber military shit, it gets even more complicated than that. Like cyber defense networks, like holy shit, man. Yeah, there's generals in charge of that. So there's like personnel, and then there's like your technical side or your equipment side, right? So they all kind of go hand in hand. But when you start talking about like electronic warfare, or you start talking about like blueprints to a new fucking submarine and shit, like there's a general in charge of just that. They're in charge of the blueprints for building a submarine. And then what we think of as generals here, in a lot of video games, you think of a general being in charge of a large army. In the Marine Corps, and I think there's meant like army as well, but like there's something called a combatant commander. And these are people who are in charge of entire regions of the world. So there's a general in charge of AFRICOM, for example, which you probably know what that means. Everything in Africa, an entire continent. Okay? And then there's EUROCOM, so everyone in charge of, not including Russia, because Russia's different, but everything that's going on in Europe, like France, Germany, the UK, there's EUROCOM for you. The United States is called NORTHCOM. Then there's SOUTHCOM, as we understand South America, right? Is there one in charge of Antarctica? I don't know. There probably is. But if you didn't know this, the militaries are not supposed to get involved in anything in Antarctica. It is considered a no-go zone for anything military. So there's technically no one that presides over Antarctica because it's considered off limits to pretty much all of the known world, and none of the militaries are supposed to operate there because it's for like science and fucking, I don't know. I can't tell you, but that's how I understand it. Is Antarctica is like a no-go zone. So once we go to the moon and we start having fucking moon wars, that's gonna be a totally different story, right? Pretty cool stuff. Who's liking this? Who's loving it? Thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, please and thank you. Back to the chat. Foreverlurk 2 said, I just wanted to jump out of airplanes. Everything else that happened in my service was in service of doing that as much as possible. Hell yeah, dude. You and me joined for very similar reasons. I just wanted to shoot guns and blow stuff up. So I got to do all of that. So Triangle said, POV, mom using the bathroom, spraying everything. Oh, God. Yikes. And then Magnus said, and then their standard officer ranks. Okay. Which is probably like lieutenant, captain, major, colonel. I don't know if Canadian military has colonel. I'd imagine they do. So we have like field grade officers. We have line company officers. Like, yeah. Our military's organizational structure is fascinating. And I still don't know it all. But I've gone through classes where I learned all about the United States. It's none of it is like off limits, by the way. It's all open. I'm not telling classified information. You can find this online. So I'm not privy to that type of information, but I just understand it from being an E6 in the military and learning and being in a lot of situation rooms, mission briefings, shit like that, briefing rooms as well, that I understand a good amount of how it works. So we're supposed to. We have to know, right? Because we might get there one day. So, and we just understand how the U.S. military works, kind of. There's still so much more to the U.S. military. Like, I don't think the government even knows how big the U.S. military is, to be honest. We have bases all over the world, man. Or little bases, little patrol bases all over the world, and you probably have no idea we're even there. Like, we have bases in Panama, you know? Obviously because the Panama Canal, but... All right, back to chat. Triangle said, POV, dad is using the bathroom. My business is done. Oh, my gosh. Magnus deleted some comments. I appreciate that, Magnus. Thank you, sir. Triangle says, we don't have a standard officer because we prior ourselves on very safety measures like the FFP, operate inside the borders, but rarely out of them. And when they do, things get hectic. Yeah, so you're probably... Triangles, you live in a country that doesn't really have any large military that's able to actually like campaign or actually mobilize for anything besides defense of the country. But you might send people off to like other countries to train, or countries come to your host nation, as it's called. It's called a host nation. Wherever we're going to, we call it the host nation. So when we were in Afghanistan, it was called the host nation. So even though we know where we are, we're in the host nation. So there you go. Some other words you might learn. Triangle said, we don't have a standard officer because we... Oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. Magnus said, in the CAF, Canadian Armed Forces, the insignia includes chevrons. We got that. Pips. What's a pip? Is that like a... No. This is something else, honey. Maple leaves makes sense. Royal crowns and sabers. Oh, that's badass, dude. You guys got sabers and shit? Oh, that's cool. That's freaking sweet, dude. We have like different... I don't want to say insignia, but like symbols for like if you get a medal, you know. So we usually have like medals with stuff like that. But like our rank structure is pretty bland. I guess the Marine Corps has like the cross rifles, which is pretty cool if you're enlisted. And then besides that, there's like gunner, which gets that little exploding device that they wear on their collar. They also have a different uniform too. And then also if you're a part of the band, so the Marine Corps band, they also have their different ranks. It's very interesting. So James Tactics, hey, what's up, man? Triangle says we don't have the Air Force, we call it the Chair Force. Yep, same here, dude. That's so funny. And then chat, if we get Moon Wars, do you think we can get Star Wars or Warhammer? Good question. And then Forever Lurk 2 said, off limits reminds me of a Caesar quote. Do not quote laws to men with swords. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, back to Antarctica. So, like, Antarctica is technically a no-go zone. So you could get, there's the Air Force, and I think the Navy can get medals for an Antarctic service, but it's not like what you think of it as. It's, I don't fully understand it. So, but there is a Antarctic service medal that can be worn, also in the Marine Corps too. Why you're there, I have no idea. You're fucking shooting penguins. I don't know what you're doing there, dude. I don't know what frees our ass off. I mean, a lot of it's like scientific research and stuff. So maybe we're there like guarding a Navy vessel that's being transported there. We're like security escorting or something. I'm not too sure how that works, but yeah. And then Magnus said, oh, they have different, so here's the ranks as well. So cadet, second lieutenant. Okay, so there's cadet, there's second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, so we have that too. Colonel, brigadier general, major general, lieutenant general, and then general. So very similar. And then he said, so the same as US. Cadets are officers in training and you do not salute them. Interesting. Interesting. I know in the Marine Corps, if you do go to Quantico, which is where they train our military officers, and I've been to that location. Also, the FBI is there too. Obviously, that's a totally different, they have like their own land and everything. We don't really talk with them, but they come on base every once in a while. So mainly to probably use our ranges or like our training locations. You know, they might come by and be like, hey, we're going to do some training at your facilities, and they probably pay us, you know, however that works. But our officers, when they're in not officer candidate school, that's different, OCS, but when they come back after they graduate college and they go into officer school, OS, we do salute them because they do rate second lieutenant. So they do have their rank is there, but when they're OCS, they don't have any rank, you know. They're just officer candidate school. If they make it through that, they graduate, then they get to go to officer school and they're sworn in as an officer, right? So as a commissioned officer. They're still trained really hard, by the way. So anybody who says officers are a bunch of weak bitches, you're freaking wrong. Army too. I think the Army also kicks the crap out of their officers big time. The Navy, they're pretty tough, but once you get done with that and you go back to wherever you're going to be, it's pretty cakewalk for them. So, but they have different, you know, everything's a little bit different. Oh, thank you, Magnus. I appreciate that, man. And then Triangle says you can't spell lost without the L. Sorry, lieutenants. Good joke, man. You get it. You get it. Yep. They get lost. Yep. That's so funny, dude. Like, sir, do you know where we're going? Yeah. This way. Sir, your map's upside down. Oh. It happens. Triangle said, pardon me, but the last time my country mobilized was the Napoleonic era and shit went downhill and we got sabers too. Okay. So Triangles, you are somewhere in Europe then. And if you haven't been mobilized since the Napoleonic era, that's a long time ago. It was like the 1860? No, before that. Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia doesn't exist anymore, Maddie.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'm going to continue painting Abaddon. I'm going to be doing some trim work. So for that, I just use my base Retributor armor, shake it up really good. I will be doing the backside of his armor, just getting all this coverage. So it's called the trim, and a lot of people don't like painting Chaos Space Marines because of the amount of trim. So personally, for me, I like doing the trim. Maybe I'm weird, but a lot of people are like, "Oh God, I can never paint CSM because of the amount of trim." Nice. Good job, hon.
Who wants to learn about the brachial plexus?
Anybody want to learn about the brachial plexus?
No.
It's about a nerve in your
Nerves.
nerve bundles that are in your arm. Well, they start at your spine and then they branch out.
They start from C5 through T1.
There you go. So if you want to learn anything about doctoral medicine shit, Maddie's your muse for that one. Shit's beyond me, bro. I know basic anatomy because I did take like combat life-saving courses and trauma.
This is the butt.
This is the butt. Yep. This is where the poopy comes out of. Ooh. Your mouth.
I'm taking a break.
Okay.
Hurt my brain.
Yeah, you have to learn. She has to learn a lot of stuff. I do not envy her. She's in big girl school. I like learning, but not that much. All right. Triangle said Star Wars is cooked already. Just destroyed it. We need Warhammer now. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know if Star Wars will ever happen. Maybe. But I think we'd be more Warhammer. I mean, we would probably be more like, how do I say? Starship Troopers, kind of. We could go that way. That'd be cool. Great book, by the way, if you never read the original. The 90s movie is a parody of it, but it's a really good fucking movie, too. If you don't like that movie, you and me got some problems. So I fucking love that movie. I grew up watching that movie, and it made me want to join the military, even though it's an anti-military fucking movie. Go figure, right? Or if you've ever read the book or seen the original movie, All Quiet on the Western Front, strongly recommend reading and watching those. The original, the black and white one, man, you cannot beat that movie. I believe it was made back in the 1930s, and this is after Germany lost the war in World War I, but they made a movie about World War I, and they used real World War I soldiers in the movie. So it's pretty fucking accurate. And it's pretty grim dark. So if you like things World War I like I do, it's actually a really good movie. I would highly, highly suggest watching that movie. And you're probably going to need a stiff drink because it's pretty heavy. But going on. Yeah, Magnus said, yeah, Disney pretty much ruined the Star Wars franchise for me, so I moved on to Warhammer. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Star Wars is just for, like, kids now. You know, like, whatever happened to it being for adults, too? Like, I know it's family-friendly, but, like, I don't know. In my opinion, they kind of fucking killed the franchise, and then they brought in the whole, like, you know, the wokeology, if you will, and and then they tried to redo and rehash old movies or, like, old, pictures that were originally done by Disney, and they're like, what if we change the main character to this, or why don't we have it more modern? And I'm like, oh my god, dude. It's like Marvel. They just beat that dead horse until no one, I mean, people probably still care about it. I don't care about Marvel anymore. There were some very good movies in that universe, and like, I didn't hate Black Panther personally. I actually kind of liked it, but like, Iron Man movies were pretty fucking good. Minus the one with the fake bad guy. That one really pissed me off, by the way. I was like, what the fuck is this? The what was it called? The Mandarin or whatever. Yeah, that movie really pissed me off. So it's kind of funny, but a lot of those movies kind of rub me the wrong way. And then Forever Lurk 2 says the chick that destroyed Star Wars just quit, so there's a new hope. Oh my god, that's funny. I didn't know that. Yeah, the CEO or whatever. The one who's in charge of the franchise, essentially, at Disney. So there is hope. Also, some movies were pretty good. Like Rogue One was really good, obviously. Some people don't like it, but I thought that was a pretty good movie. They took it seriously in that movie. Like there was a little bit of joking, but like not as much, and I appreciate that because like, the original Star Wars movies, there is jokes in there, there is humor, but like that's not the main thing, or like making sure that our good guys, our protagonists, are like invincible. They're not, like even Anakin Skywalker. You go back to everything before, the timeline as we know it. When Anakin was still young, he was the main character, and then it turns out he ended up fucking betraying everything that he was taught, and he went to the dark side, and that was like the biggest fucking thing ever. That was, to me, that was bigger than even Luke finding out his father was Darth Vader. Like, that's crazy too, but like Anakin literally going against everything he was taught and like following fucking Darth Sidious as we know him. But he was like the Emperor Palpatine, right? He followed him, and he's the one who led to his destruction and everything he loved and everything he had. And that to me was like the craziest shit ever, man. Him fighting Obi-Wan Kenobi and wanting to kill him, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi fucking just about killed Anakin and destroyed him. You guys remember that shit? Like, that is an iconic, crazy, still embedded into my brain of Obi-Wan Kenobi crying and just being like, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to be the one to get us out of the darkness, not join it. You're supposed to help us build the Republic, like, and then all the clones, fucking, all the stormtroopers going up against, Order Number 66. That whole thing in Star Wars, like, oh my god, that was so heartbreaking. And like, Anakin Skywalker murdering the little Jedi kids was fucking traumatic. I don't care who you are. All the little Padawans, he went in there and they're all like, is everything okay? What's going on outside? He's like, nothing. And then the next thing you see is him turn on his fucking red lightsaber, and you're like, holy shit, he's about to murder a bunch of children. Yeah. Fucking, they don't show it, thank God. I mean, that would probably turn a lot of people off, but like, that's grim dark, dude. They took it seriously. They took the IP seriously. They didn't have it where like the little kid fucking lived and everything, it's all rainbows and butterflies. Like, no, stick to the fucking lore. And in Warhammer 40K, I really hope they don't ruin our lore, man. I mean, some people could say they already have ruined it. I don't think it's totally dead yet, personally. And I've been following the lore for a pretty long time. I know there's a lot of retcons, and people don't like it when they go back on what they already did. Or they just kind of don't talk about what happened before. Like, how was the Emperor of Mankind made? And like, yeah, they can change the IP however they see fit. And another thing is, a lot of lore in 40K is kept open to interpretation for a reason, or lost to time. Let me go on and read some comments here. Oh. Yep. Oh, Magnus said I saw the remastered movie. Probably one of my favorites. I'm going to guess you're talking about All Quiet on the Western Front. The new one, yeah. The original is also very good. Forever Alert 2 say, in Audie Murphy's movie To Hell and Back, he casted former soldiers of World War II in this movie depicting his real life war experiences. I have seen that movie. Audie Murphy is a badass dude. Audie Murphy is one of the greats. If you don't know who he is in the United States, he is a Medal of Honor recipient. He killed a lot of fucking Germans, and he did a lot of things to earn his everything that he did after that. So Audie Murphy was a little guy too. If you didn't know, I think he was only like 5'6", 5'7". He was just a little guy, man. Audie Murphy was a tiny little guy. People would meet him. They were like, "Oh, he's a lot tinier than I'd imagined." But then you don't know. He's a little fucking bulldog, man. That guy was. I mean, he turned the tide of multiple battles. Just one individual. So you could learn about how he got his Medal of Honor and the battle that he was in. It involved a machine gun, very Rambo style. So if you want to know where they probably got some inspiration for Rambo, look up Audie Murphy, man. Straight up badass little guy, man. Fucking, I would love to visit his grave one day, pay my respects. I did know that too as well, Forever Alert. Like, I'm a Marine, but I do know and I respect a lot of soldiers as well, especially during World War II. I mean, especially ever, right? But like, World War II soldiers and Marines are completely different in how they are today, man. They're fucking. I mean, even Vietnam vets would look at the fucking World War II generation and go, "Now those were some real motherfuckers." They would look back on World War II and go, "My dad was a freaking war hero, and here I am in Vietnam in the fucking jungle, sweating my ass off and fighting off mosquitoes and getting shot at. Don't know when I'm gonna die." They look back at World War II thinking that was the best time to be alive if you were in the military, and I agree. That was probably the best time to be in the military. So, Magnus said the only good kids content from Star Wars is the Clone Wars TV. Yeah, dude. The original. The first 2 seasons were more childish and had janky animations, but seasons 3 through 7 were so good. Yes, absolutely. A lot of the story in those last 4 seasons. Yep. Even though it was cartoon, like, they did a very good job in the Clone Wars series, and there's still hope for that. So there's talk that they're going to build on that or like revisit it. We'll see if they do. Magnus said they were afraid of killing off named soldiers in the Clone Wars TV show. Well, that's probably good. And then Triangle said I meant War Thunder Mobile. Okay, gotcha, bro. Magnus said you were like a brother to me, Anakin. Yeah, dude. Yeah, even you remember that. Yep, when Obi-Wan Kenobi had to confront Anakin, and Anakin already gave himself to the dark side, like, so tragic. Really, it's like, I hate to equate it to 40K, but like, I mean, you could look at like Sanguinius versus Horus and kind of see that. I mean, there's so many things that happen in 40K where there's a betrayal of brotherhood, like Fulgrim versus Ferrus Manus, the second time when Fulgrim's demon took over and he cut the head off Ferrus Manus and dealt the death blow. And then it reawakened him for him to see it happen. And he was like, holy shit, I can't believe I just killed, my own brother with my own hands. And the demon's like, yes, you did. And you loved every second of it. So, and that's when Fulgrim basically gave in to the demon completely and gave up. So they say. But there's so much lore behind that of him not actually, it's fucking crazy. So, but Warhammer 40K, there's so much betrayals. There's so many grim, dark face-offs where there's not a good ending. Like the Emperor and Horus, like the Emperor is the father and Horus is his chosen son, his strongest, his brightest, his most well-respected, and yet he's the one who betrayed the galaxy and pretty much of course, it wasn't totally Horace's fault, and I don't think it was. Horace was tricked into it. He was tricked into it, and then he was, his mind was poisoned to believe that what he was doing was the right thing and that the Emperor was the big bad. He thought the Emperor was going to kill off all the Space Marines, and he was going to, all this fucking crazy shit that Tzeentch fed him, and all the Chaos Gods, that Horus believed it. And then the demon that was inside Horus, all the demons that were inside of Horus, including the Chaos Gods, they basically just completely altered his entire personality, which is also very tragic. And like Sanguinius being felled by Horus is tragic as fuck, man. Because Sanguinius was a badass Primarch. Probably one of my favorites. And many say that the Emperor should have chosen Sanguinius to be the War Master, not Horus. And Horus probably would have agreed. Because Horus wasn't like that. He was a little cocky, but he wasn't that cocky, right? And then Forever Lord 2 said, I don't know, I grew up during the first 3, okay, yep, and was absolutely involved in the hysteria and lines at the movie theaters as a kid. Nothing else after ever came close to the first trilogy for me. Absolutely, man. Damn, you were there in the heyday. Yep. When Star Wars first came out, and then everyone after that got released, just the hype was just peak. Fucking peak. The lines outside the movie theaters, that shit doesn't really exist anymore. Like, when's the last time that's happened? Maybe Avatar, I guess. The first one, maybe. I guess the Roblox movie, or fucking, what is it? I think it's Roblox. I don't know. That movie, like, a lot of people really like that, but like, not many movies have had that level of fanimation, and just hysteria, as he called it, over such a phenomenon within the Hollywood scene or anything, right? So not many movies do that anymore. Not many people even go into movie theaters anymore. Unfortunately, they're kind of going to the wayside, so go in them while you can. Back to the chat. Magnus said my personal trilogy was the prequel trilogy. Yeah, man, that's where I grew up too. But I watched the original before the prequel. But I grew up like with Anakin being like my age. You know what I mean? So like Anakin was a little boy. I was a little boy too. I thought it was fucking cool. Like, the little racer, the little speeder, like all that shit. I was obsessed with that. I loved that. Now, of course, Jar Jar Binks, like, oh my God, fucking kill it. Kill it with fire. But like older me does not like that. But like younger me fucking loved that. I loved the prequel Star Wars, all that, man. I loved that. It was fun. Again, not to the same level, because I'm sure a lot of the older people who went to go see the new Star Wars movies were like, what the fuck am I watching right now? Is this Darth Vader as a child? What the fuck is this? They were not happy. It killed off a lot of people's hopes. And the CGI was pretty god-awful, too. I guess at the time it was good, but, like, it didn't age very well. Triangle said, well, me personally, when it comes to Disney Star Wars, I do kind of love them still, especially the first 3 and some of the side stories. Yeah, man, absolutely. That's fine. You can love that. Triangle said, never watched Marvel. I've watched the first Spider-Man, but that's it, really. And you also watch Black Panther. Okay. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Dang. I'm surprised, because you're a young man. You haven't watched... Don't even bother watching them, honestly. Like, Winter Soldier was kind of cool for Captain America. I watched that. Winter Soldier's kind of good. So, I thought it was a pretty good movie. Some people hated that movie. I thought it was pretty good. So, Magnus said, dude, where's Ellie and WC? I don't know. That's a good question. Forever Lord 2 said Audie Murphy was 5'4" and 112 pounds when he enlisted. Yeah, he was just a little guy. Oh my gosh. I'm 5'5", so. And I was about 100 and I think I was 115 pounds when I enlisted. So, yep, Audie Murphy was just a little guy, man. You better believe I got a lot of shit for being short, too. So, I got a lot of shit, man. But I kept up as best I can with the big guys. I couldn't keep up with all of them, but I would hold my own. And the older I got, the more I'd have to keep up with the young big guys. So often I'd be running them ragged, believe it or not. Magnus said in the last few episodes of the Clone Wars TV show, they really took a deep dive into Order 66. Yep. That's where things went. Yeah. That's a huge betrayal to the Jedis, man. When that happened, oh my God. Ugh. Unbelievable that they just had that, like, oh, time to kill off all the Jedis. Like, all the people who've been helping us win and fight for the Republic against all these, fucking factions that don't want to be under the Republic. And, like, once they beat all of them, essentially, and the clones were innumerous, and the resources were innumerous, they basically won the fight for galaxy supremacy. And then Emperor Palpatine was basically the emperor of everything, and then it's like, all right, let's kill off all the Jedi because they can, if they turn against us, they could beat us. They were afraid of them. Triangle said, speaking of all the law, or do you mean lore? I've actually heard rumors that Disney is preparing something giant for a franchise. I didn't know which one for one of them, and let's hope it's for Star Wars. Oh. They probably will. I mean, that's a huge franchise to not... I don't want them to, like, overcapitalize on it, and, like, kill it off or fuck up again. So hopefully whoever they have in charge of the Star Wars franchise and its lore, hopefully there's someone who actually can give it the proper respect that it needs. So, like, I didn't watch all the movies with what's-her-name in it. I didn't really care. I didn't watch any, like, hardly any of it. I watched the last one. I think I watched the first one, and then I watched the last one. And I watched the last one, and I was like, wow, they did a really good job with the graphics. It was really, like, the scenes were amazing, but it was so fast. They sped run through that entire movie when they probably should have broke that up, Oh, and then Triangle said, and we can't forget about the Japanese platoon that turned the tide in Africa and Italy. The 442nd Go for Broke. Magnus said, what? Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that unit. I didn't know the Japanese were even in Africa and Italy. What? When was this? What are you talking about? Are you talking about your game? God, I hate when I do that. Are you talking about your game, Triangles? Are you in the wrong chat? And then Kyrick9936, hey, what's up, man? If you wouldn't mind subscribing and liking, please, I'm trying to get to 500, and you can help me. Thank you. But I do go live every once in a while. I want to do it a little bit more often. I've just been really focused on building my army. And right now I'm building Magnus. Abaddon, the Despoiler. So please join. Foreverlook2 said, to be honest, though, the world that held my fascination the most was Dune as a kid. Oh, yeah. Dude, those books are trippy, dark, and expansive. I tried reading those books as a kid, and I gave up because I'm like, I don't know what the is going on. Like, I did not understand. It's like way... The sci-fi, I love those books, man. I love the Dune universe. You can ask Maddie. She knows I fucking love that shit. I tried to force her to watch it, and she pretty much refused. So she got bored. I mean, you tried, and you're like, what is going... I don't understand any of this.
I just don't care.
Yeah, she didn't care. So... But for me, I'm like, babe, you don't understand. These are like the best movies to come out in the sci-fi world for a long time. Like, I haven't seen good sci-fi movies in a long time, folks. But you know what? The Dune universe is doing some magic with less. So if you didn't know, their budget is really... They're not spending as much money. They're not spending billions of dollars on their movies. They're able to shoestring it really well, and they're able to produce high-quality content. Cinema, movies, and I really like what they're doing, man. I'm gonna get some black gloves, just because my hands are getting kind of sweaty and I'm not able to hold Abaddon upright right now. He's not liking the stick. He keeps falling off the stick. So even though I have the putty on here, he just doesn't like it. So I'm gonna fucking go get some. Oop, almost hit my head on the lamp there. Does this guy stay up? So I'm going to BRB. Come on, you can do it. Come on, there we go. BRB. Just gonna get some gloves because my hands are too sweaty. Okay, coming back. Got my gloves. I had to use the restroom too, so whatever. Not like you need to know that, but there you go. All right, get my gloves on. Awesome. Got my little BRB guy. Put him back. Yeah. There you go. I love these things. They work out really great for me because my hands are just disgusting. And I can use the touch screen, which is also kind of nice. So I might just start bringing the gloves over here. So I can just have a couple on hand so I don't have to go get them out of their little box they're in. Got them in the office, so. All right. And then Magnus said, "I've seen the Doom movies, but I have not read the books." Yeah, they're actually very well written, but it is trippy. Is a good word for it. Yeah, the author is on a whole nother level, man. You want to talk about like a godfather of sci-fi? Yeah, read some Dune books. I haven't read one in a long time, but you know. And then Triangle said, honestly, Roblox isn't a war right now, if you've heard, and I'm not talking inside the game. And well, yes, that's too outside the game. I meant in a war at the moment. Yeah. Magnus said, yes, I know, Travis. I have a cool name. Yeah, sorry. Forever Lurk 2 said, in the Pacific. Oh, okay, in the Pacific. Interesting. Yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah, in the Pacific. I was like, Africa? What are you talking about? He meant in the Pacific. Yeah, yeah. The Japanese are they're kicking up their they're kicking up their efforts a little bit, and rightfully so, because they're getting contested by North Korea, Russia, and China. So, and China are not very nice. The government is not nice. They are. I don't know what they're trying to do. They're trying to supersede the U.S. And if we're not careful, they might just fucking do it. They're also undermining us with psyops too. So if you don't believe it's true, it's true. If you don't think COVID was on purpose, you're wrong. You don't think they would kill their own people just to get a chunk of us? They definitely did. Just to get us looking somewhere else, just to get us busy, you know? It was born in a lab, so a whole bunch of crazy stuff about that. Anyway, Warhammer Universe. Man, there's some good things going on right now. And there is even talk, or not just talk, there is, you could say talk, but there is going to be a revival of the Iron Warriors. And I have to say, I have been a very big fan of Iron Warriors, even though they're really bad guys. They're not good guys. I mean, they could make Abaddon's Black Legion look like a freaking picnic, if you want to talk about evil. The Iron Warriors they do not mess around. I think they're one of the scariest heretical... I don't, you know, what Chaos Legion, if they're not really chaos though, because they don't like the chaos gods, right? So they don't even believe in the warp. They don't believe in, like, they're atheists, right? They believe in science. But the fucking weird thing is that they do work with Vashtor to get demon engines. So like he's a demon, but like they work with him, and like Perturabo is said to be a demon Primarch because he was elevated, but we have yet to see him. And there is talks going around within the Warhammer sphere of Perturabo coming back. He has been mentioned in a couple books, by the way, if you didn't know that. So he has not been just sitting on the sidelines for the last 10,000 years. There's a lot of rumors going on about him, and I would love to have a fucking Iron Warriors army. They're really big in Horus Heresy, so if you play Horus Heresy, the tabletop game, Iron Warriors are there too. So they released a whole bunch of them when they did everything with the Saturnine armor. So for those that don't know, ancient Archaeotech Saturnine armor that was said to be a rumor, by the way, until GW said, oh no, it's always been a thing. What are you talking about? And they released it in a huge box launch, and it was very well received. They made a lot of money doing that, so kudos to them. They gave the fans what they wanted there, and they did a really good job and made a lot of 40K people very jealous, myself included. So, but there is rumors floating around that Perturabo, the Iron Lord himself, is going to come back, and he's going to be fucking one hell of a enemy for the Imperium to take on. So, and I don't think he even would swear any allegiance to Abaddon, or, I mean, maybe he'd work with Huron Blackheart, maybe. But man, the Iron Warriors are a whole other Chaos chapter. Again, they're not even Chaos, but they're a Renegade Legion technically. But man, those are the big bad guys of the Imperium. They're super badass too. They're really freaking cool. Big fan of them. We got 7 people in the chat. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go back to the chat here and see what's going on. Just read some comments and I'll say it if need be. And then Fervler 2 said the 442nd were a bunch of badasses. Interesting. And then Triangle says, I meant without Jar Jar Binks, the Jedis would have died sooner than later. Yeah, so Jar Jar Binks kind of aided them, right? By going back to his water people, and he convinced them to fight for the Jedis or to help in the rebellion, right? If it's even considered a rebellion, it's like they're just fighting to survive. So that's a good point. Jar Jar Binks, as much as he gets some shit, he was technically a what's the word? Not a negotiator, but he was like a diplomat. So there you go. Magnus said, y'all having a good day. Yep. They were Lark. And then Magnus said, I'm having a good morning, early morning. So I have some Knob Creek. Oh, and the wife is asleep. All's good. I like Knob Creek too, Furler too. I've drank bourbon. I like Eagle Rare too. Magnus said, good man. Do anything cool yesterday? Triangle said, I went to a party. Oh, that's kind of fun. There you go. And then, yep, Magnus said he got a Lego set, which I spent way too much time on. I saw that. I think it was the, was it the X-Fighter? Was I wrong in that? It looked like an X-Fighter, but I could be wrong. I saw that. Hey, Ellie's here. Welcome, welcome. The Drama Queen. Triangles. You're funny. And then Triangle said, go watch The Fat Electrician. I don't have the keyboard capacity to tell you this entire story. Oh my gosh. Forever 2 said, Triangle said, he said Magnus is building Magnus. Yeah, I know. That guy can tell a story. Oh, me, you're the Fat Electrician. Forever 2 said the Fat Electrician. I've heard of the Fat Electrician before. I haven't watched any of it. Maybe I have unknowingly. But Magnus said the IW Iron Warriors are pretty dark. I don't know what they're called, but the only one I sort of felt uncomfortable reading Warhammer lore is when they tried to grow Space Marines in regular humans. Yeah, that's the Demunculaba. Yes, that's actually an Ultramarines book. So Uriel Ventress, I think he's a lieutenant now. I don't know if he's I don't think he's a captain, but he's got to be at least a lieutenant by now. But I don't know if he's in the same universe or if he's even alive with Titus. But Uriel Ventress and Ultramarine, really good books, by the way. If you've never read the Ultramarine Omnibus, it was the first Warhammer book I ever read. It was so good. I would read it again. But the Iron Warriors are in there. The first book talks a lot about like traitor legions, and like Uriel Ventress basically gets put on the shit list, and he's like black shielded, and he's sent into a mission to go to an Iron Warriors controlled world. And like the imagery of this book, I cannot tell you, is so fucking good. Because Uriel Ventress is sent down to basically stop or figure out what the Iron Warriors are doing, because they keep replenishing their ranks, right? They keep replenishing their ranks, and like they should be dead. Why aren't they dead? And then he gets there, and the entire world is literally a giant siege bastion of nothing but war, and the Iron Warriors are basically having a civil war on this world while he's trying to like sneak in and get into the fucking Iron Warriors and figure out what's going on and how they're replenishing their ranks and what they're up to, because they're causing a lot of issues, right? And a lot of astropaths are seeing some horrible things in their dreams or in their visions, and it's throwing them off from guiding people in the Astronomicon or like transmitting messages. It's kind of causing like a warp gate, if you will, or not warp gate, but like a warp storm. So they're like, well, we're not going to go down there. But Uriel Ventress, by yourself, by the way, we want you to go in there behind enemy lines, controlled by one of the worst fucking, if not the worst legion in the entire fucking 40K universe, and we want you to figure out and stop whatever it is that they're doing. So it's a really good story. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but it's fucking badass. Highly recommended. Super grimdark, super fucked up. Really good story. Really, really good story. I believe it's the second or third book in the omnibus. I can't remember. It's been a minute, but really good. Yeah. And then after that book is written, there's also a follow-up book that I have as well. Probably one of my favorite ones. But anyway, back to comments. Magnus said, Forever Lurk 2 said, I need to listen to more 40K audiobooks to update my lore. I just know the basics. I was mostly a player, painter type. Okay. Magnus said, me too. Triangle said, you guys have audiobooks? They do have audiobooks. GW does. They also have Kindle too, so I have Kindle. Because I do have some of the physical books. I have a lot of physical books, but it's a lot better to just read it on a Kindle because they're so thick. Like having to carry those books with you is kind of, it's not always convenient. So, but a Kindle, you can carry that anywhere and it'll have multiple books on it. So, and you can have it near the water. Unlike, regular books, I'd be by the pool and kids would be splashing and I'm like, fuck. That's what you get for bringing a book to the pool. How dare you? And then Forever Lurk 2 said there are some on YouTube. That is correct. Yep, there are some. Oh, Broken Sword Miniatures. Hey, what's up, man? Thank you for joining. I am not familiar with who you are. Thank you for joining the channel, man. And then everyone said hi. It's really nice of everybody to say hi. We're very cool here. We're very, we're not trying to kick anybody out. I'm a small channel. I'm trying to grow to 500 subs, so if you could please subscribe, it really helps me. But I'm a genuine guy, and I'm not here to fucking, I'm not going to ignore people unless if they're causing a ruckus. But I love meeting new people, especially if they're into Warhammer, because that's what we talk about here, along with other stuff too. But we were talking about Star Wars earlier, so. Magnus says, I remember you Broken Swords Miniatures. Oh, okay. And then Forever Lurk 2 said, nope, just an ad block activated. Oh, okay. Ad blocker. Okay. Yeah, if there's ads in any of my videos or anything, like, that's not my doing. So it's just fucking YouTube doing it, so. I hate ads, personally. I mean, if I were to, like, pitch something in a video, that's totally different. But again, I'm not going to pitch anything that I don't use or something I don't trust. So if I ever get to that level, I'm not going to be like, get NordVPN. Like, I'm not doing that shit. Go pound sand. Or like the whole fucking, I'm sure you guys remember the whole, what is it, the Scottish become a lord or a lady. Like, I knew that was bullshit. And all these YouTubers were pitching that stuff. And I'm like, this is the biggest scam ever. Like, what the hell is this? Like, YouTubers pitch stuff to get money. I mean, I get it. You got to pay the bills, right? But, like, why don't you just get better people to sponsor? Why sponsor these fucking ads, man? All these shady companies. All right. Broken Sword Manager said, that's good. I forget who I am all the time. LOL. Ah, you said assembling my 3D printer, watching the game. Oh, what game you watching, bro? And then Triangle said, let me buy your 3D printer. Magnus said a starfighter called, it's a starfighter. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was the X-Wing or not. I saw it, though. So he said it's a V-19 Torrent used in the earlier stages of the Clone Wars. Oh, that's dope. Okay. Broken Sword Miniature said just order one on Bambi's site. It's $300 on sale right now. So there you go, Triangles, if you want a 3D printer. I don't want one, personally. I think they're way too, like, I don't have time to learn how to do all that. And I follow a lot of 3D printing pages on Facebook, and a lot of people complain about them. So, but if you can get good at it, and if you can learn how to do it, good on you. That's not my thing. I don't really care. Like, if I want to have little skulls or little spikes, I'll just go buy them, you know? I mean, or I can make them, or, you know, there's a lot of 3D printer companies like on Etsy. I'll just go on there and just buy a whole pack of them, you know, like, so that's just me. You could do you. You know, I support GW personally. I know a lot of people hate GW. I have stock in GWs, so like they're doing great right now. If you don't own stock in GW, I highly, highly recommend buying GW stock. I don't give out financial advice, but I'm just saying it's been doing great for me. So I own a couple thousand in that, and it's been awesome. So Broken Sword Miniatures said, LOL, sorry, I got dark humor. That's fine, dude. Keeps me from eating my gat. Oh, God, please don't do that. Magnus said I got a video of a snow groomer on Thursday while I was at work. I sent... I'm not too sure. It might be for the slopes. Maybe that's what he's talking about. Oh, you sent it in the Discord? Okay, good to go. I'll watch that after this, bro. Thank you. Broken Sword Miniature said, what should I paint? What should I paint my EC? EC.
Execution.
No, I don't know what EC stands. I gotta think about it. Emperor's Children. Sorry, how did I not? Hello? Emperor's Children. I'm thinking of maybe dark purple instead of pink, or a purple to pink. I think purple to pink would be cool. I like the traditional pink, man. That's just me. Thank you, Maddie, for belching. We appreciate that.
You can't call me out like that. I told you.
And Triangle, well, it wasn't me. And then Triangle said print a P51 Mustang. There you go. And then Broken Sword Miniatures said also saw those lavender ones that are pretty amazing, but look at the next level for printing. For painting. Okay. They look a little next level? Okay. Magnus said, do the hottest pink you can find. Oh my god, that's funny. Broken Sword Miniature said, yeah, pink is a fun color. Triangle said that would be a royal pink. Interesting. And then Broken Sword Miniature said, might go pink and dark purple to replace the black. There you go, man. I like the pink and black personally. I like it on Emperor's Children. I would play Emperor's Children. I think they're freaking cool, too. I've also read the Fulgrim book, too. So that Primarch book of when he fucking went to the Laren and he got that blade and he basically became corrupted. And then the whole Maraviglia thing, which if you don't know about that, holy shit. The entire fucking just the amount of craziness the Maraviglia is. If you want to read a fucked up Warhammer story, it's one of the grimdarkest things ever. Basically all of the high command and of the Imperial Navy that was with the Emperor's Children, along with a shit ton of Emperor's Children, like all their higher ups, all their fucking company commanders, all their, like, so many were on, like, the main ship of Fulgrim. So his main flagship. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of the flagship, but, like, there was this great opera that was done, an ensemble, and it was done with like art, and it was very beautiful, and it became so, like, the amount of emotion that poured into it and the amount of emotion around the entire orchestra basically opened up a rift to hell, and demons came in, and like it was like a blood orgy, literally. It's the craziest thing you've ever, and it's like the demons are stabbing people while they're doing each other, and then like the demons are skinning people and throwing them up on the very high levels of, like, the whole place just gets caked in blood, and like Fulgrim like just is clapping and he just loves it the whole time. Everybody basically becomes insane because the Maraviglia is like the greatest orchestra ever happened, and it was so great that it actually opened up a rift to the warp, and Slanesh came in with her demonettes, and they basically like murdered turned all the humans into demons. The demons started doing each other, and then they all started killing each other, but like smiling and happy. And it's like just the horror scene of what that had to have looked like is so vivid. It's like considered it's considered one of the greatest grimdark stories within the Warhammer 40K universe. So the Maraviglia, look it up. I remember it very, very well. So it basically traumatized me from reading it. And then Broken Sword Miniature says, I'm a wannabe creator, haven't done anything yet, don't have the cams and knowledge for video editing. Hey, that's okay, man. Hey, welcome, dude. If you subscribe to me, I subscribe to you, and then my guys subscribe to you too. And if you want to get into the space, we can help each other. All right, we're all about helping each other here. So getting better, understanding the lore better, learning how to play the game. We all kind of put our heads together and we work as a team here. And we have fun doing it. So we'd love, if you haven't joined already, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it, man. So, and if you're not in the Discord, please join the Discord. Okay. Back to the chat. Broken Sword Miniature said the last painted project was a full USA list for Conflict 47. I've heard about Conflict 47, but no one is playing it yet, so I'm going to work on my 40K stuff. Yep. Conflict 47, I think, is like a alternate to Trench Crusade as well. I've heard good things about it. I haven't seen it. I haven't checked it out, but I remember when Trench Crusade came out, that was a big deal. Now it's kind of, there's some drama going on right now. It's been going on. Who am I kidding? It's been going on with the whole Trench Crusade thing. Like, there's a lot of drama, and like they're basically becoming GW, which they said they wouldn't do. They were gonna, like, I remember them telling like their premise was that you could 3D print at home and that they would support you and they would give you the files, or you could buy the files to play the game, and like you kind of had a lot more free reign with your designs, and that you could, do your own miniatures and play the game. They would just facilitate it with like a rules book and everything like that. And then now they're starting to paywall everything, and like they're basically becoming GW, probably because they're not making any money. That's the problem with 3D printing, is as much as it is good, but it also really hurts a company if they're not doing it right. Like if you want to 3D print, like I have terrain here that's 3D printed. I bought this for $30 for 2 of them. Like that's a good deal. I'm going to buy that over what GW sells, which is like $150. But like I like their resin minis, so I'm going to buy friggin' Abaddon the Despoiler because it's a good one. I like their mini. If there's an alternate mini I really want and GW doesn't have it, I might wait, or I might just go online and buy one that's 3D printed. But you just got to make sure that they have a really good... there's also controversy going on with like resin builds, and how there's like they don't build them properly in the software. So when you go to print it, there's pockets that can leak out resin that's toxic material. There's all this crazy shit going on. I don't freaking know. This is all secondhand stuff. Like I don't play Trench Crusade. I don't have a 3D printer. I've taken classes on 3D printing, so I took a college course on it, but like not really my thing. It's also really expensive too, but anyway, back to the chat here. Magnus said, yeah, that's all right. It's pretty easy to learn. If you can cut a clip, you're chilling. Yeah. Basics of making your first videos. Like, just start making videos. They don't have to be perfect. And then I would recommend shorts. And then I go live, but you have to have 100 subscribers to go live. So once you can go live, take advantage of it. I like going live. I don't do it every day. I don't have time for that. But if I could do it once or twice a week, then I'm cool with that. So I do want to get back to doing it. It's just right now, again, I'm building my army to be in the tournament. So I got to finish so many more of the... I'm not even going to have them all painted by the time I have to go. So I'm going to have a lot of gray minis, which sucks. But, oh well, I've run out of time, and I really want to go to this, and I'd like to play a full game, or at least 1,000-point game with my Black Legion. So that's the plan. And then Foreverlord 2 said, nah, man, the ad blocker comment was in regards to asking about YouTube 40K audiobooks. Oh, I see. The ones I've found on YouTube have tons of ads put in them. Oh, okay, that's annoying. Unless if you get premium or premium light. So Broken Sword Miniature says, I feel I failed the resin printers, but heard good things about FDM printers, and Bamboo A1 is foolproof. Okay. Hey, that's fine, man. That's fine. I mean, these are FDM printed. These are FDM printed, and they're fine, dude. For, like, terrain, I'm cool with this. I can see the marks and stuff, but, like, I don't really care. I'll just dry brush it, dude. So, like, that's fine. But if you want really high-quality prints, FDM will not... I don't know if it can really... I don't think it's there yet, unfortunately. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But last time I looked at 3D printers, resin was the only way to go. But again, there is a lot of learning curves to that, and there's a lot of, you know, things can go really wrong, and like, if you don't know what you're doing, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say too much about it, but I don't want to stop you. I don't want to stop you. All I got to say is just make sure you know what you're doing. That's it. I believe in you. I believe in you. You get a good printer. Even if you get a decent printer, do it, and I hope you get really good at it, man. I'm not here to tell you don't do it. It's not for me, but, like, I think it's a great thing to incorporate into your hobby, because it's kind of nice to be like, well, if I don't have it, I'll just make it. You know what I mean? All right, Magnus said... I ordered some Lego Clone Troopers online a week or two ago. I just got them today. Nice, dude. Oh, so did you order like resin, like 3D printed? I'm guessing, yeah. And then Magnus was deleting some comments. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you very much. Commissar Magnus is on it. Magnus says, "What is your third wish?" Triangle said, "What?" Magnus said, "The third comment you want me to delete." Magnus deleted. I got you. Thanks. My third wish, Broken Sword Miniatures, is a little Oompa Loompa to be my mini assembler. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, just have someone else do it. Actually, I got a midget friend I can send you. Oh my god, Magnus. Magnus said, look out for him. He'll be coming in a few weeks. That's funny, dude. Broken Sword Miniature said, oh, capitalism is destroying creators. You don't say, sips coffee. Yes, it is. It is. Capitalism... there's a lot of back and forth with that, man. There really is a lot of back and forth with that, for sure. Broken Sword Miniature said, what's his name? Question mark. Triangle said, bro, this guy, I love this man. Had half the high five to him. Triangle said, Magus, you still haven't deleted them. Magnus said, I deleted the last one. Delete the one where it says scratch that, and the one where it says I ordered the... Oh, okay. And Triangle said, okay, never mind. That means my screen is laggy. You might still be able to see them. Triangle says, oh. Magnus said, yeah, nah, real Lego clones. Okay, that's cool. So, whatever you guys are doing. You guys are behind the scenes. I'm just here in the front. So, but I'm caught up to comments now. All right, and I got my gloves on. I've been just kind of catching up. So I got a really good base on him. I just used my Vallejo black primer. I've just painted it on because for Abaddon, there's so much that I want to do with detail work that I don't think I can airbrush him and have him be the quality of priming that I want. So I've decided to do it by brush, by hand, the old school way. And actually, so far, it's been really working out for me because I'm sub-assembling Abaddon the Despoiler. So, you know, here's the front, and then there's a back, and this actually, like, clips together, which is kind of cool. So it's like you're actually putting the Terminator armor on Abaddon. And I want to do it a certain way because I want to have glowing effects, like, behind his helmet. So in order for me to do that, I have to sub-assembly it because else I'll be trying to paint behind the shroud, and that's such a pain in the butt. So I actually painted his head all the way around, while as like traditional hobbyists probably wouldn't do that. That's just me. All right, what do I use to base him? So I already primed him up. Abaddon Black, of course. Citadel paints. Can't go wrong with that. Broken Sword Miniatures says, what does it all mean? Why are we all here? Why does the paint taste funny? He must be tripping.
Why does the paint taste funny? You could tell when you did today.
Oh yeah, well I did. I was painting this morning, and I had my cup of coffee next to my brush pot with water. So I'm painting, and all of a sudden I take my brush and I swish it in my coffee, and I'm like, I just fucking put my brush in my coffee. So I told Maddie, and she was like, yeah, whatever. And I drank it. It's fine. It's not going to kill me. But I just thought that was kind of funny. I thought I'd share that. So a little oopsie this morning. Magnus said the paint doesn't taste funny. You just have shit taste buds. And then Broken Sword Miniature says it's Monument Hobbies. It's part of the cult initiation. Ah, so you're with Monument Hobbies, huh? Oh, I think I need to get this man. I think I need to go. This man's from a cult. Oh my gosh. This is not the cult. This is the army, son. All right. Let's go. I just use a nice thick brush. I think this is a number 4. But I'm just using this just to coat all over Abaddon's armor that I have not painted yet. So anything that I have not based, I'm now basing it. So once you prime it, you have to prime your minis, by the way. If you do not prime your minis and start painting on them, you are lost in the 1990s, man. You need to wake up and get with the 21st century here, because that's the wrong way to be doing it. So, and I see people do it a lot, especially on Facebook pages or like people I follow. They're like, oh, look at my mini and how I painted it. And everyone's like, holy shit, what did you do to it, dude? Like, you fucking globbed a whole can of it on there, you know? I know everyone's skills are different, right? But like, there's right ways and there are wrong ways. And like, some people just get into this and they don't know, you know? They're just a little ignorant. And that's okay. That's what we're here to learn and get better at doing, you know? So, but if you want a better looking army, it can be done. You just gotta, like, if I can get good at it, you can get good at it too. Anybody who says I suck at painting, like, you just didn't, maybe you don't get it, you know, maybe it's not intuitive to you. Like, I can't paint on canvas that I know of, you know, like, you give me a traditional canvas and tell me, all right, Travis, I want you to paint fucking the Battle of Gettysburg. I'm gonna go, what? God bless you again, Maddie. So, I'm no fucking Leonardo da Vinci, but when it comes to mini painting, I think I have a decent grasp on it. So, I started off the same as probably everybody else, man. My first minis were not the best looking. I really didn't know what the fuck I was doing, but I just got a brush. I got my pint of water to wash it in, and then I opened up my Citadels, and I just started painting. And then I learned, oh, you're supposed to shake up the paint before you start painting it. Like, should probably know that, right? Like, I did know that, but like, I didn't think about it. You know, I was like, oh, it's fine. And I'm like, why is it kind of soupy? And I was like, no, I gotta shake it up, duh. It's like everything else, every other paint, like a spray paint can or like anything else. You gotta shake that paint up really good to get that good consistency. So I learned about priming, and I did a bunch of research, like what type of brushes you need, and like I kind of got lost in it because there's so much information. And if you start listening to certain YouTubers, like it might work for them, it might not work for you. You know, you go out and buy like $300 worth of Kolinsky fucking Sable brushes, and then your minis still look like shit. Well, maybe it's something with your technique. So never give up. Never give up. You can improve, and there's people that I follow on Facebook or people that are on there, and they said, this was my first mini, and they show a painted mini. Doesn't look the best, right? But, you know, you could tell it needs improvement, and they're like, this is 1 year from then, and they show what they just painted, and it's like so different and so much better looking than when they first started. So it's really a skill that anybody can learn, even if you got shakes, because I have shakes sometimes, like when I'm painting, sometimes I get really shaky. It could be the caffeine, it could be a multitude of reasons, right? Fucking Parkinson's, I don't know. But like, I'm still able to paint. Even if I'm shaky and I'm not able to get as much detail, or like I don't think I can like do a straight line, because I can't always. But just practice. You don't have to build your army and start from ground zero. Like, I would recommend what I did. I just went and bought the cheapest minis I could find on the shelf, brought them home, and I just practiced. That's it. And then I'd watch videos and learn about how I could get good with it, you know? And then I started improving. I got better and better. And then your mind starts to open up and the creativity juices start going, or you start getting inspiration from what other people can do, which is amazing, by the way. And then you're like, wow, how do I do that? How do I get that technique down? Or like, how did he make it look like that? How does it look so realistic? A lot of it's camera work too. But I do think everybody has the potential to be really good at painting. So never discount yourselves, okay? You can get good at it. You just got to try. All right? And if you're like, I don't get it, why am I not painting right? Well, maybe you should slow down a little bit and try something else until you get good at that. Like, that's how you master things. That's how you master things. That's how you get good at stuff. You start small and you work your way up. You know, no one just picks up a fucking golf club and they're amazing at it. I don't even think Tiger Woods was good at it, you know? Like, everyone has to start somewhere. Everybody. So, I don't think I'll ever be the greatest mini painter in the fucking world, but I know that I can paint my minis very well, and I'm proud of it, and I like doing it. So, I enjoy it a lot. What about you guys? Do you think you've gotten better from painting? Magnus, what about you, man? You think you've gotten, like, how long did you think it took for you to get good at painting, would you say? Because you paint very well. Because I've looked at your Krieg, obviously. You showcased him in the Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, check it out. Let me know, or you can go to my page, my main channel page for YouTube, and it'll be in the link, and you can join. Just no funny business, please. I don't have any rules yet, but me and Magnus maybe will create rules in the Discord, like no AI shit, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. No, you know, over sexualized. I don't know. Like, memes are fine. I love memes, and I have a really good sense of humor. I just don't want the Discord to get shut down, you know, because, like, you know, but like another thing is probably no kids. Like, I don't want kids in there, you know, 6, 7 bullshit. Like, that's not gonna happen, dude. It's okay if they join this. This is not for kids. This channel, this show. This is not for children, but like if they join, I can't stop them, you know what I mean? But like if they're intrigued in Warhammer, that's fine. You know, I'm not gonna like kick them out, but I'm just like, well, you know, you're here, you're with a bunch of adults. Just realize that there will probably be swearing, or there might be some more mature conversations, and I just don't want to be the guy that, you know, gets fucking the kid in trouble from their parents and then they report me to YouTube for saying the F word or something. You know what I mean? So, yeah, this channel is not made for kids. So if you're under 18, you should not be in this group. Okay? If you join, there's nothing I can do about it. But, like, if you're too young, I'll tell you, like, hey, you got to go, or Magnus will kick you. So, or if you're just being a jackass. I like tomfoolery, don't get me wrong, but, yeah. And then Magnus said, I'm gonna dump some shit in the Discord and sign off in a few minutes. That's fine, brother. I get you. I'll be calling this too. So I just wanted to hop on and hang out with everybody. Yeah, it's okay. I'll be signing off too, guys. There's not too many people who joined this live, and that's okay. It is what it is, right? But at least you guys joined, and I really appreciate that. At least I'm hanging out with you guys and just interacting, because we don't get to see each other physically. But, you know, at least we're on here. We could talk about stuff, and I don't want to, like, dominate the conversation, because I do want to open this up more. So, like, me and Magnus, we're going to have, like, a Discord chat. And then me and WC, we're going to do a, if you didn't know this before you go, me and WC, Warhammer Commentator, we agreed to do a bit on 2025 and review, and then looking forward into 2026. So that video is probably not going to be live, just because it's going to be too complicated with like 2 people talking, his chat, my chat. So we're probably just going to do it recorded, but it'll be a good collab. and I think it'll be really fun. I'll probably keep it to like an hour, hour and a half, not too long. But be looking out for that, guys. We'll be doing that next weekend. And then Magnus said, "Oh, I've gotten totally better. It took a long, very long break, but before then I was fine. Now it's way better. Like you said, not the best in the world, but I'm happy with my work. That's what matters, dude. I'm proud of you too, bro. You should be proud of your work. You should be." And then Triangle said, "I'll actually be signing off here soon at 11:20 because I got to make my new video for my channel." There you go. I upload every other day. Awesome, dude. Look at you being a YouTuber. Triangle said, "And by the way, if you're confused with the time, I'm using your time because you're over there and I'm over here where I am." Okay, gotcha. It's 10 o'clock here, CST. So Magnus said I'm using EST. Yep. And it's an hour ahead of CST. Yep, that's correct. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, Magnus said I need to upload some shit too. Yeah, man. Yeah, if you want to. Like, at least some shorts. Do some shorts or something. Those are always good. But maybe do like a long form video talking about yourself. Like, who are you? Maybe people want to know who you are. Unless if you have a persona you want to keep. That's totally different. Like, if you're like, you have a persona, that's different. Like, I don't really have a persona per se, but I'm kind of working into it. So the Chaotic Crafter 0 is my persona, right? My name's Travis, so. Magnus said I need 11 more subs. Oh, man, you're so close. All right, well, if you're watching this video, you stayed this long, please subscribe to Magnus. Help him get all the way up to where he needs to be so he can get his channel where he wants it to go. Other than that, I will be signing off. I do want to thank everybody for joining me. I did a little bit of painting on Abaddon here. Got a little bit further, but I really appreciate everybody hanging out with me, talking with me. I think we had a really good chat. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, right? So tomorrow's Sunday. I hope the best for you. I know, Magnus, you got to work, bro, but I hope you have a good day at work and you're able to kick butt into next week. Everyone stay safe out there. And that's all I got. So this is going to be Travis with the Chaotic Crafter 0. I'll be signing off. Everybody take care. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night. Bye, everybody. Much love.